Welcome back to Lipany for another casted game, and now we're going to be watching the infamous copyrighted Scout Vision to see how both of these guys are doing. On the east side of the map in purple we have Suit, or I'm going to be calling him Suit, as the Byzantines, and on the west side in the teal we have Pepino Pig, also known as Jakino or Jakino, as the Zhu Xi's legacy. Both players going for their team colours this time. Now Jakino has a really great Twitch channel, you definitely want to check her out, Conqueror level gameplay and loads of fun along the way. Now, let's talk about the scouting that we are watching. I'm watching on the plebs view, but you guys get the fancy version that I've set up for you. Now, Pepino, I think, is going for what I would consider to be the classic and probably the better scouting path on this kind of map. So straight down the center and then going just straight all the way to the opposite edge of the map and then starting to scout out that half. So by the time that she gets back to her base, she'll have seen 50% of the map. Whereas Suit is going for something slightly different, not exactly what I would normally expect, which is just basically along one side down the edges. So the problem with doing that, especially on a map like Lipany, is the spawn on Lipany can be so variable. It's not a predictable map like Gorge where you can get away with just going down one edge. So here you've got to be having an idea of where the cliffs are, where the woodlines are spawning, stuff like sacred sites. It might not be what you're looking at initially, but as Byzantines, for example, you want to know where your second and third berries are. Especially on this map, you might even get lucky and get like a double berry placement and go for a bit of a greedy winery. So you definitely want to be playing that out. Now, if we take a little look at the map as well, we want to have a look where these cliffs and woodlines have spawned, because sometimes this can really favour one player over another. So looking at it as it is, we can see that the cliffs and woodlines on the east side of Jakino's base are definitely in her favour. So a couple of tiny little walls are basically secure this whole eastern side. So a couple little ones over here would secure up 2 golds and a deer pack very, very easily. So obviously being careful of these tiny little walkthroughs here, which are passable, and there's another one down there. On the opposite side, it's not so easy to wall in. A little wall up here would actually secure up this side, and then there's just basically one entrance to the base at the front. So could really funnel them in and put some defences at the front. On the other side though, it looks like Suit isn't so lucky. Their base is very, very open, but they do have quite a few back resources. They've got a nice deer and berry placement back here, so a nice little cistern could go down over there to boost their income. They've also got some nice little berry patches out at the back, which is pretty good, but then the other resources start looking very, very forward and very exposed. This gold in particular is going to be very easy to push because there's basically nothing around except these 2 lonely little sheep that haven't been picked up just yet. But if we take a look, we can see that Suit is going for the Grand Winery, the Grand Winery, as you'd expect, aging up with 5, which is an interesting choice. Normally you go for 4, but he might be trying to rush out some of those mercenaries because getting the winery down that little bit faster does help. Also, we've got the cistern coming up as well with couple on stone. Interesting. So normally the meta at the moment is leaving 3 on gold and then getting your eco text, but it looks like Suit is going for something slightly different and trying to get more of those cisterns, because obviously with the water level, once we get to level 2, that's going to be increasing this to, I believe, let's switch this over, there we go, it's going to be up to I think about 14%, I think is the second level. And then once we get a third one up as well, that's going to be increasing it again and again. So this is definitely going to boost the economy of the Byzantines, and that oil income is already starting to flow in. If we take a look over at Jakino's side, Meditation Garden is just going up. We've got double wood quartz, the stone and the berries. Now looking at this map, there isn't really a better option. Unfortunately over here, we would only get double gold because deer don't count because they're not one of these hard static resources. So really there isn't actually a better position. Even if you went all the way over the other side of the map, you could get maybe 1 gold and 1 berries. So in this case, I think this one at the back getting a little bit of stone for emplacements, or potentially a cheeky TC, which I think is what we're going to be looking at. And the Jiangnan Tower. Okay, you don't often see this from Zhu Xi, so both players doing something a little bit different this time. So this is going to mean this Jiangnan Tower is cheaper because the Tang Dynasty gives you a discount on your age ups. As soon as we go for this, we're going to be going into the Song Dynasty, which means that eco buildings are cheaper. So that's going to be farms and granaries and TCs. Now we've also got the supervision on this mining camp, which is giving us an extra 20% of the stone as well. So this stone is going to be pretty much enough to get that TC going, as well as the passive stone that's coming in. Taxes being collected there with the Imperial Official, nice little bit of Imperial Official micro there, and heavy on the wood, which is also going to get supervised to get that TC down really quickly. So a pretty decent time considering we've got 2 landmarks being built for the Zhu Xi. This also does mean that whenever a production building is built, that she's going to get a free unit, which is also pretty decent as well. So TC placement going down, which is okay. Normally you don't want to be putting the TCs against the resources, because then the villagers will start dropping off there and you lose taxes. So normally you see Chinese or Zhu Xi players putting, if they do go second TC, literally side by side, but that's a pretty decent placement, I think. And also with the extra defenses, that's going to make the base really hard to hit for the Byzantines. We can see now the mercenary contract is coming in, longbows coming out, which I think is a pretty good choice in this matchup. Often you will see players going for the javelins, but then if they go fast castle into knights, that's really scary. So longbows I think are generally the most general comp, but oh, this is a bit aggressive. Rallying them straight over to the back to try and get some damage. So if a couple of horsemen catch them, that's going to be a bit dangerous, but the extra stone, there we go, we can see has actually been put there, covering a load of the wood and covering all that food, which is very nice. Level 3 system this early in the game, and those gold stone villagers have all popped onto gold, and we've got quite a lot there. So it looks like it's going to be longbow harass into castle, which is okay, but you do have to remember that Zhu Xi has the supervision. So if Pepino decides to, she could supervise this stables and get a load of villagers, a load of horsemen out. Yeah, words are escaping me, but we're watching the match as we go. A couple of horsemen now coming around the side, trying to find a little bit of damage. These longbows being caught out, they've taken out the spear, but unfortunately now they've lost the element of surprise. Now, this is one of these things, if you're going to be coming in and doing raiding, especially as there's nothing on the front you can actually raid, you do want to try and keep these guys hidden. So actually, I would have said it would have been better for Suit to actually let that spearman go towards his base and then actually have the archers going off. So, pulling back. Okay, so pulling around. I don't think he knows that this is passable. I believe it is. It looks like it is, but you never know with this Lipany spawn. But a couple of horsemen from Jakino come in there, and the Architoid defense is pulled. Nicely done from Suit there, keeping those villagers alive, because with that Architoid defense, it does give you +1 damage and 2 armor, melee and ranged. So it does make a unit significantly more tanky. Now that's also 2 damage at this stage because we're in the feudal age. In the castle age, they get another one. So once you get to the Imperial Age, you can actually do a huge amount of damage. It's actually really cool. As you can tell, I am an ex-Byzantine main and still a Byzantine lover, so it's really fun. I do also like that Suit isn't just going for tons of groves. Now that the groves have been nerfed, it's actually not really the best thing to be going super heavy into them early, although they do pay back very, very well. But moving out onto these berries is going to be a much better call, and still going to keep that oil flowing in, because we've got the second batch of mercenaries coming in, and we've got the units rallied down. The scout taking a little look around to see what's going on, as Jakino's horses are searching around to see if they can find some damage. So these guys are going to have to be really careful that if they can get in and do some damage. So if I were them, I'd try and move as close as I can to try and get some damage here and distraction. But are they going to do it at full distance? No, there we go. That's really nice. So because the longbows have that extra range, this is going to be able to do a huge amount. 1 villager down, but it does look like Jakino is counter pushing at the same time, and longbows, oh, they've been shift queued. They're moving in. That's a little bit too close for comfort. Only 1 villager taken out so far, but Here we go, we've got the palace guards because Zhu Xi gets access to them early, so they are going to be able to take out, and I think they do very, very well into the longbows. Spears trying to take the horsemen out to stop that bonus damage, but those palace guards also have increased attack speed, so they are going to be able to take out the spears, and they are going to be taking out the longbows. Obviously, the spear that's rolling around on the ground in pain is a Lipany, but, you know, a spear is a spear is a spear. So palace guards just about to clean up all of those longbows, and I think the second batch will be at home in a more defensive stance, but this Jakino knows now that the Golden Horn Tower is going up somewhere and they're going for castle, so she's going to have to think about castle herself before this eco picks up. But this is where it can get really scary as a Byzantine player because, well, with these raids that are coming in and idling up your economy, that's really bad, but also because Jakino is on 2 TC. Now, the Byzantine eco with the cisterns, and if you can manage to get relics in the winery, can actually keep up with 2 TC until early castle. It's usually alright, but okay, it's probably not good enough to do these kind of crazy walls over here, but sure, okay, you do you, suit. I love to see it. I think your villagers are probably going to run straight into palace guards, which is never a good thing to see, but yeah, that's the most aggressive walling I've seen today, and you know, that's saying something considering I love a greedy wall myself. It does look like these units have they found it, so they're not A-moved, but is Pepino going to see it? No. Oh, they've just about moved out of range, so that's very lucky, but they're just out of aggro range. Oh, that's quite lucky, but there's more units coming across. They're not going to see it again. Pepino's putting them here, obviously, to guard up this relic. But the spears are going to notify them. Oh dear, that's really not ideal. So now they both know what's going on. I don't think Pepino knows about these walls just yet, but as she's sending units this way, she probably will shortly. But as you can see from the eco at the top, we've got 54 villagers against 39, and as we can see, the castle age is just about to come through from Pepino, from Jakino. We're going to switch over to the income per minute because this is where we will see the biggest difference. Some nice little defensive walls about to come up for Jakino as well, guarding this little one here, and this one looks like it's fully closed, which is also really lucky as well. We can see the Zhu Xi forces have been taken out by the relic over here. One has been taken by suit, and it looks like it's probably going to be a pretty even split, but this is just not what I'm used to seeing. Jakino going for the Mount Lu Academy. So normally you see the monastery landmark because it gives you the baldy monks, but in this case this one's going to give the imperial official text, which is really nice. We've got lots of free longbows coming out, but with them being free and we don't have any Lange Connect, does that mean that Suit hasn't got his veteran upgrade? No, he's got it. He's just very lucky and just getting loads of free longbows, so good for him. So it looks like his food is starting to lack a little bit here, so definitely needs to be switching this up. Very heavy into wood, and it's definitely slowing down that production, but obviously at Byzantines you get quite a lot. Palace Guard getting a bit of damage in there, and these guys do have the armor, so there's no mangonel emplacement in just yet, so not quite going to be able to take these guys out. Definitely need to be getting those crossbows into the right position. Somehow the greediest of greedy walls is actually up, and we can see now that Jakino is moving out onto the deer over here. So with the Mount Lu Academy coming up, we're both in the castle age, and we can see first of all that the supervision is now increased to 300%, which is going to make a massive difference to the amount of resources that you get and also to the speed of production. So there are also techs which allow you to get extra imperial officials. I think you get an extra 2, and you can make more of them as you want from your TCs, I believe. So that's going to be able to boost up the economy even better. Now, so far we've only got one relic in the bag, and we can see another one coming in. So this safe one up here still hasn't made its way home. It looks like it was taken out by the Zhu Xi forces as it was picked up, but we are trying to grab the contested relics. Now, Zhu Xi, there's also a bug on the caster mode, because of course there is, while we see the nice little granary transition in the back, is that you can't actually see the relics that Zhu Xi has. So we've got one, there we go, one that's dropped in. You can't actually see it in the bottom here, which is, I know, is really fun, but let's take a look at the longbow fight. So horsemen trying to run away, and the palace guards. Now with these numbers of longbows, I don't think they're particularly worried about armor, so these forces looking pretty good, but there's no front line. So if Peppino can get some strong frontline units, that's going to be able to do a lot of damage. So it looks like the third relic, one of the relics over here, is being guarded, and they have grabbed the other one. So 3 for Byzantines, and it's whether, I'm guessing this is another little monk. So I think that's going to be 3-2, which, considering how quickly Soot got to the castle age, I think that's actually really great work by Jakino there. We've also got the eco techs coming in. Forestry, I'd love to see that that's actually getting supervised. It is, which means that you actually get more resources for getting this. Forestry, if you supervise the lumber camp, you actually get more resources in taxes, I think, than you actually do from spending on it, which is great. So, you know, who loves free money? Zhu Xi does. We've also got the double granary. So these, if we can see here, the aura buffs up the farms. So we can see that we've also got the improved gather rate. So doubling them up means the ones in the middle actually get more. So I'd love to see a couple of these farms in the center, but this is really nice. Now, Soot is also using his units, getting up those sacred sites as well, which is potentially going to force an engagement, but the numbers are starting to really shift, I think, into Peppino's favour. The 78 villagers, I think, is the scariest number here, because if we take a look at the eco, you can see there's a huge difference between the two. Also, we can see here that we've got some units going around to guard. All of this exposed food out here, the berries and the boar, not even being taken yet. All of these guys have hoovered up all of that deer. So whether they're going to move out to that or they're just going to start putting farms down is the question. But Byzantines now almost on system level 5. This is a pretty good placement. I think it does get you the deer and the stone, but I think apart from these greedy walls, I'd be thinking about securing some of the other sides of the map. For example, like over here. If I were him, I'd probably just do a wall straight across here and then across to this gold and then secure that up. And my mouse is going a little bit crazy. But the Byzantine forces are now starting to move across the map. A huge amount of longbows. So lots and lots of range. We've got, what's that? 40, over 40 ranged units out of 60. So I think with all these horsemen, I'd be a little bit scared of that one. We do have the Imperial Red Seals coming in now. So 2 additional Imperial officials are going to be able to come in. And we've got, is this a scout? Yep, scout coming in to try and do a little bit of harassing, causing some issues and some annoying problems. But that wall has very quickly been taken down by those horsemen, and so now the raids are going to be coming in on the back. We did see a mangonel emplacement placed down, so I'm guessing that's by the gold, but this system not actually doing anything because the units aren't over there. So I'd definitely be thinking about placing that somewhere where it's actually going to be getting some of the influence. But it looks like we're going to be seeing a bit of an engagement. Soot knows that they're there, and oh no, but his units have separated. Oh, it's going to mean that he's going to be able to, Peppino's going to be able to get away. Jakino is now going to use the mobility of those horses to run away from the spears. So this is where you've got to be really careful to make sure your units together, because now they've been pulled away from the base, and oh dear, this is really bad. So the reinforcements getting picked off, and the Shuganu crossbow horse mass. Now, who's going to come out on top? Numbers looking very similar, but the numbers I don't think are telling the true story. With the cavalry that Jakino has here, these guys are going to be able to taken down very, very quickly. Palace Guard's also going to deal pretty well, but it looks like they're trying to target someone in the middle, so they're just running around in circles. That's really not doing the most damage. Shuganu generally deal pretty well with longbows, but only because of their longbows have the range and they're not quite kiting. But horsemen have come in from the bottom side trying to do damage, but spears have caught them, and actually Byzantines has turned that around massively. I wasn't expecting the fight to go that badly for Zhu Xi. Some more units, more longbows actually out of position, but tending to be in the perfect position, chilling out by the boar in the stealth forest. That's all of those units going down. But the eco is still in Jakino's favour. If she can pull something out of the bag and get some more units on the field, that's going to be good. This is where Soot's really going to have to pump, and he's going to have to start getting the units into the base to make sure that he doesn't let that eco advantage really pay off, because almost 100 villagers versus 60, it's definitely going to be making a big difference. Also, there's more cavalry on the other side that we've just heard the little ping, so Soot should know that they're coming that way. hitting both of those. I was trying to find the other sacred site. I didn't realize they were so close, but these horses are going to be really scary because now there's nothing at home. All of these guys are trying to find some damage. I'm not sure where they're planning on hitting, but there's also a keep coming down to defend the front of the base. So it looks like Jakino knows that there's going to be some raids coming, so there's not a huge amount of eco on the back. If they can get in this wood line, they can get a lot of villagers down here, but they're going to have to be really careful. Notification's going to go off as soon as that torch goes down, and looks like it's going to be raids on both sides. Cistern taken out. That's a lot of resources lost there for Suit as we go around, and the archery ranges are being taken out. You definitely want to be going for the monastery as well, because that's going to reduce the gold income per for the relics, but it looks like the forces have actually built up, looking very, very similar, even though there's a fight going on the backside. The horses running around away from the spears, splitting up to try and get as much damage. Those Golden Horn Tower, the Horde doesn't have a rally point, so those guys are actually just happening to be in a good position to do a little damage, but as we all know, longbows don't like horses. Back into Jakino's base, we can see that the horsemen are coming in. Crossbows and Shuganu are doing a lot of damage, and I think it's gonna start turning towards the Zhu Xi's favor once those spears are taken out. Horses still sitting there right up against them, but now Jakino does have the defender's advantage, and he's going to be able to pump out a lot of these units. Byzantine can pump a lot, but it does cost a lot of oil, so it's definitely going to slow down. And if we take a look, we can see that the numbers are looking very equal. Horses running around. We do have a second TC in the back now for Suit. So it does look like he's realised that his eco is going to be suffering a little bit and trying to bridge the gap. But as Jakino's already on 2 TC, I think he's definitely going to have to think of something a little bit extra to try and get some more from that. Also, he doesn't have all of his eco techs. So if we take a little look, he doesn't have his level 2 wood tech. He doesn't even have specialized pick, and we also, if we check out the thing, we don't even have horticulture, so this is really going to be hurting the food economy. Whereas on the other side, we can see all of the level 1 techs and the level 2 mining have actually come in. So the last couple of horses being taken out there, and some palace gods just causing absolute mayhem for Suit, catching some of these villagers, and with their running speed they're going to be able to get a few of those before the Byzantine forces come in. But we do see the Zhu Xi's library going up. Where are you, my friend? I'm trying to find it, guys. I'm trying. Here we go. Imperial Age coming in for Zhu Xi, and this library now gives us access to these extra techs. We've got extra damage for the bombards. We've got the Zhu Xi crossbow one, but it's just going for the techs at this stage. Now, this is where we got a lot of forces here for Jakino decapping these sacred sites. The third one's not even taken, so it's not really a win condition at this stage. Another super greedy wall coming up, which, yeah, with the amount of units that we're facing, I definitely don't think I'd be going so greedy. Obviously, trying to secure up this gold with a keep is a very good idea, because that gold is going to be one of the last ones that we get. We've also got the front one over here, not quite under cistern influence, because also the cistern there has been taken out. Definitely want to be adding that back in, and we do have some more stone coming in, so hopefully that's going to be coming. But the military numbers looking very, very similar, but it's all going to be about the composition now. Imperial Age has come through, which also means that these Imperial units are going to be significantly stronger now, and the horsemen against those longbows are going to do a lot more damage, and the Chuganu in the Imperial Age with that library tech are just going to absolutely shred these spears. So Suit definitely needs to be thinking about a way of trying to bridge the difference, and it's definitely not fighting at this stage. Oh no! The mangonels trying to get a shot off on their horsemen have been taken out, but nice little bit of micro here from Jakino, trying to get away from those Landsknecht and the mangonel shots. So a lot of damage actually. This is pretty good. The Byzantine have done quite a lot of damage there, but we can see some more forces on the horizon coming off, and it looks like they're going to be going straight towards the base. We've got quite a lot of units here now. These guys, the elite horsemen, we do have the Dali horses upgrade as well, which gives the cavalry an extra 20% attack speed, which was recently fixed in a patch, so it actually gives 20% now, which is really, really good. So we've also got a huge amount of resources in the bank, so we might be going for the second upgrade or whether the second dynasty, the next one, or we're just going to be getting loads of text. So we've got biology coming in and we're just getting loads of farms set up around those granaries. Now, on the other side, we can see that we've got more mercenaries coming out, trying to build up some forces. Mangonel towers going up to try and do that, but those units, those Dali horses have gone out and found some more damage. More villagers being taken down. 123 versus 85 is a huge amount. Now, Jakino is going to have to be really careful. Oh dear, those villagers were a little bit greedy and went out there without scouting. I don't think they're going to be able to build that mining camp there. But getting separated like this is potentially going to be good, but it looks like they're splitting up too much. Those spears are going to be taken out, with the secondary forces getting taken out over here. Both players losing quite a bit by separating their forces, and it does look like the villagers are trying to pull up those greasy walls. The greedy walls keep actually going up on the stone here, and Jakino cleaning up all of those spears on the side. So back to even numbers, and it looks like they're going to be trying to secure up this side. So keep against keep, villagers just chilling and gathering up those resources. We can see the tower almost taken out, and we've got more forces that have run past all of those towers and trying to do damage. So both players deciding to try and hit as heavy as they can along the way. Dali horses with their really cool suits of armor are now going to be shredding those Landsknecht, and we've got even more upgrades coming in. Elite Shuganu, we've got the Lancer Knight one as well, and this here losing so much value from splitting these guys up. So this is really working in Suit's favor, but I think at this stage it's all going to come down to whether Suit can get to Imperial and hold long enough to get the upgrades. So he's got a lot of oil income, a lot of oil in the bag not being used. I think we probably need a couple more mercenary houses down, and that's going to allow those units to come out, or alternatively just selling it to get to the Imperial Age, I think. But this is where the tech advantage may really swing in Jakino's favor. We've also got a nest of bees. I was going to use the rude version, but we won't. So all of these guys really moving slowly because they're moving with the mangonels, obviously in formation, moving as slowly as the slowest unit. So definitely don't want to get caught out by that. Just out of range of Mangonel Tower, but the Chuganu are going to get taken out. And we can see all of these horses now ready to try and do some damage, waiting for their command. A little proxy stable base going down by the stone over here, but it looks like the spearmen are going to be along the way to try and stop them. Byzantine numbers looking pretty good. 62 against 45. Incendiary arrows also coming in as well. Now this is going to be really dangerous once those ranged units get upgraded. So crossbow's not going to do a huge amount against these horses, and even with that, this is the Imperial difference. Now all of those horses are just going to absolutely shred these crossbows, as well as those other units that are now circling into the Byzantine base. Horses finding the gold villagers out on the front as the foreign engineering company comes in on the back. Horsemen, there we go, doing massive damage. Those crossbows absolutely melting. And Peppino's forces coming in to try and stop the age up as it's about to go through. Horses, they're going to get massive damage. Are those villagers going to pull off, or are they going to try and go for the build? They are going to get away, but there's loads of villagers that have been taken out. 135 to 91 at this stage. The full Byzantine force outside the base. Horses trying to get to the mangonels, or just getting those villagers, trying to do a lot of damage, but they're not going to be able to prevent this age up, I don't think. There's still a few villagers building it. Longbows trying to defend, but they're in the eco, getting the groves. Full villager pull right over, just not building it, just chilling by the landmark, of course, because that's where you would do. Spearmen bracing the Lipany, trying to take out these horses, but they're doing a huge amount of damage. More units being fed in slowly but surely, and the age up looks like it's just about going to make it, but that was at a massive cost. Definitely wouldn't be building my foreign engineering company right at the front of the open base. Imperial Age just about to click through if we take a little look here, but that's 27 villagers down. That's made a massive difference. If I were them, I definitely would have stuck this on the back by a cistern like here, where it was out of the way and couldn't have got prevented. But horses also getting caught by the spears. This is a really nice little pickup for Suit. And dribs and drabs coming in now, so these Shuganu are doing a lot of damage, but definitely don't want to be feeding them in dribs and drabs like this. We don't have the gold on Suit's side yet to get those upgrades. Jakino did have all of that as she got to the Imperial Age, and that's really made a big difference. So here the Imperial Age isn't quite going to actually take off just yet until they can get the upgrades. So it looks like a keep is going to go down right next to these villagers, and I think the Byzantine villagers have realized what's happening as more horsemen are raiding on the top side as well, getting more villagers on this side, catching the ones on the bottom. And here we go, it looks like this is going to be the fight of all fights. Villagers running out trying to get the stone, even with the bombard there, the bombard just going for all those villagers because you know, why not? Dribs and drabs of the Zhu Xi forces coming in, but the mass horsemen there is definitely going to work really well against this range composition. Even with the mangonels there, Culverin's doing good against the buildings, but they're just not going to be able to do the damage, and Suit calls it. The Zhu Xi Dali horses showing true dominance in this Imperial Age smash.